Your home is not merely a collection of walls and furniture. It is the space where you breathe without worry, where you can finally take off the mask you wear for the world. It is the one place where life should be allowed to flow naturally, like water finding its own level. And yet, how often do we invite into this sacred space people who disturb that flow, people who bring with them the weight of their anxieties, their judgments, their endless need to control and manipulate? There are certain types of people, you see, who carry with them a kind of psychic pollution, not because they are evil or malicious in some dramatic sense, but because they have not yet learned to let life be. They are still fighting with reality, still insisting that the universe should conform to their narrow expectations. And when such people enter your home, they bring that fight with them. They bring the tension, the resistance, the constant low-grade anxiety that makes peace impossible. Let me tell you about the first type, the chronic complainer. This is the person who walks through your door and immediately begins to catalog everything that is wrong with the world. The weather is too hot or too cold. The traffic was unbearable. Their boss is an idiot. Their neighbor is inconsiderate. The government is corrupt. On and on it goes, an endless litany of grievances. Now you might think, this is simply someone having a bad day, venting their frustrations. But watch closely. This is not occasional venting. This is their natural state. They have made a lifestyle out of being bothered by life. They wake up in the morning looking for things to complain about. They go to bed at night rehearsing their complaints for tomorrow. What they have forgotten, or perhaps never learned, is that complaining about reality is like shaking your fist at the rain. The rain does not care. It is not against you. It is just rain. The chronic complainer treats life as a personal insult. Everything that does not match their preferences becomes evidence that the universe is somehow failing them. But here is what they do not see. Their complaints are not observations about the world. They are revelations about their own mind. They are showing you that they have not yet learned the art of acceptance, the ability to say yes to what is. And when you invite such a person into your home, they bring this poisonous perspective with them. Suddenly your comfortable chair is not quite right. Your coffee is too weak or too strong. Your choice of music is questionable. Nothing is ever quite good enough, because they have trained themselves to focus exclusively on what is wrong, rather than what is simply present. But here is the deeper problem. Complaining is contagious. It spreads like a virus. You begin the afternoon feeling peaceful, content with your simple life. The complainer arrives, and within an hour you too are noticing all the little imperfections, all the things that could be better, all the ways in which life is not measuring up to some imaginary standard. The peace you felt has evaporated, replaced by a vague sense of dissatisfaction. This is why you must keep the chronic complainer away from your home, not because you are cruel or uncaring, but because you understand that your home must be a sanctuary. It must be a place where you can practice acceptance, where you can let life be exactly as it is, without the constant commentary of judgment. The second type of person to keep away is the energy vampire. This is someone who enters your space and immediately begins to drain your vitality. They do not do this consciously or with malicious intent. They are not rubbing their hands together thinking about how to steal your energy. No, it is far more subtle than that. The energy vampire is someone who has not learned to generate their own sense of well-being. They are constantly looking outside themselves for validation, for attention, for proof that they matter. And so they latch onto others like a drowning person clutching at a life preserver. You can recognize them by how you feel after they leave. You feel exhausted, depleted, as if you've been carrying a heavy weight. Because in a sense, you have been. They have been unconsciously dumping their emotional burdens onto you, expecting you to carry what they refuse to carry themselves. They will monopolize the conversation, talking endlessly about their problems, their dramas, their latest crisis. But notice something, they do not actually want solutions. If you offer practical advice, they will immediately explain why it will not work. If you suggest a new perspective, they will cling even more tightly to their victim story. This is because their real need is not for help. Their real need is for attention. They have discovered that being in crisis, being troubled, being overwhelmed gives them a steady supply of concern from others, makes them feel important, needed, central to someone's attention. And so they perpetuate their own suffering because it has become their currency. When such a person sits in your home, they suck all the oxygen out of the room. Everything becomes about them, their feelings, their needs, their endless internal drama. You cannot relax because you are constantly being pulled into their emotional whirlpool. You cannot simply be because they are demanding that you do something, fix something, validate something. And the tragedy is that no matter how much you give, it is never enough. Because the hole they are trying to fill cannot be filled from the outside. It can only be filled when they finally turn inward and discover their own completeness. But until that happens, they will continue to drain everyone around them, leaving behind a trail of exhausted and prostrated people. Your home cannot be a place of peace if it becomes a dumping ground for other people's unprocessed emotions. This is not selfishness, this is basic self-preservation. You cannot help anyone if you are yourself depleted. You cannot offer genuine compassion if you are resentful of being used. The third type is the person who treats your home as a stage for their performance. This is someone who cannot simply be present. They must always be performing, always proving something, always seeking applause. They walk through your door and immediately begin to tell you about their latest achievement, their recent purchase, their impressive connection with someone important. Every conversation becomes an opportunity for them to showcase how successful, how clever, how special they are. They are like peacocks spreading their feathers, except peacocks have the excuse of genuine beauty. This person has confused their role in life with their actual identity. They think they are their accomplishments, their possessions, their social status. They have built an elaborate costume, and now they must constantly maintain it, constantly remind everyone of how impressive it is. The exhaustion of this is palpable. What they do not understand is that true presence requires no performance. A flower does not try to be beautiful. It simply opens, and its beauty is evident. A child does not rehearse being playful. The playfulness flows naturally from their being. But this person has forgotten how to simply be. They have become so identified with their act that they no longer know who they are without it. And when they enter your home, they turn your living room into their theater. They need an audience, and you become that audience whether you wish to or not. You cannot have a genuine conversation because they are not really listening. They are waiting for their next cue, their next opportunities, to bring the spotlight back to themselves. This creates a peculiar kind of loneliness. You are sitting with someone, sharing space with them, and yet there is no real meeting. Because they are not actually there, they are too busy managing their performance to be present to what is actually happening. You might as well be talking to a well-rehearsed recording. Your home should be a place where masks can come off, where people can stop performing and simply exist. But the performer cannot do this. They are terrified of being seen without their costume because they believe the costume is all they are. And so your home becomes just another venue for their exhausting show. Keep them away, not with anger or judgment, but with the simple recognition that you need space where authenticity is possible. You need a place where people can be ordinary, where the pressure to impress is released, where genuine human connection can occur. The fourth type is the person who lives in constant comparison. They walk into your home and immediately begin measuring. Is your home bigger than theirs? Is your furniture nicer? Do you have something they do not have? And equally, do they have things you lack? Their mind is like an accountant's ledger, constantly tallying who is winning and who is losing in the game of life. But here is what they have not realized. Nobody is keeping score except them. Life is not a competition, it is a dance. And you cannot dance if you are too busy checking whether you are dancing better than everyone else. This person cannot simply enjoy what is present because they are always comparing it to something else. They cannot appreciate your hospitality because they are mentally comparing it to other people's hospitality. They cannot relax in your company because they are too busy evaluating whether you are more successful than them or less successful, richer or poorer, happier or sadder. This makes genuine friendship impossible, because friendship requires a basic equality, a recognition that we are all human beings, stumbling through existence together. But the comparer has divided the world into winners and losers, the superior and the inferior, and they are constantly anxious about which category they fall into. When they sit in your home, you can feel their assessment happening. They are not really seeing you. They are seeing how you measure up to their internal standards. They are not appreciating your home. They are comparing it to some ideal in their mind or to other homes they have visited. Nothing is experienced directly. Everything is filtered through this exhausting process of comparison. And this attitude is infectious. Before long, you find yourself comparing too. You start to see your own home through their judgmental eyes. That comfortable chair you loved suddenly seems shabby. That painting you enjoyed now seems amateurish. The contentment you felt has been replaced by a vague sense of inadequacy. This is the poison of comparison. It takes what is simple and good and turns it into a source of anxiety. It takes what is enough and makes it seem lacking. It steals the present moment and replaces it with an endless measurement against imaginary standards. Your home must be protected from this energy. The fifth and perhaps most dangerous type is the person who brings drama wherever they go. Their life is an endless soap opera, and they need you to play a supporting role. There is always a crisis, always a conflict, always an emergency that requires immediate attention. They thrive on chaos because chaos makes them feel alive. Ordinary peaceful existence feels flat to them, boring. And so they unconsciously create turmoil. They pick fights, they stir up trouble, they turn molehills into mountains. And then they draw everyone around them into their manufactured drama. These people have not learned that peace is not the absence of stimulation. It is the presence of harmony. They think that excitement requires conflict, that intensity requires crisis. They have confused the adrenaline rush of drama with actual vitality. When such a person enters your home, suddenly small things become large. They amplify everything, turning the volume up on life until the noise becomes unbearable. And here is their trick. They make you feel responsible for their drama. If you do not react strongly enough, you are unsupportive. If you suggest they are overreacting, you are uninvalidating their feelings. They have learned to use emotional manipulation to keep everyone engaged with their chaos. But watch what happens if you refuse to participate. If you remain calm, if you do not feed the drama with your reaction, they become frustrated. Because they need your participation. They need your shock, your concern, your agitation to fuel their performance. Without it, the drama deflates. Your home cannot be a theater for other people's chaos. It must be a refuge from the noise of the world, not an amplifier of it. It must be a place where calm can exist, where simple moments can unfold without being interrupted by manufactured crisis. So these are the 5 types. The chronic complainer who cannot accept what is, the energy vampire who drains your vitality, the performer who cannot stop the show, the comparer who cannot simply appreciate, and the drama creator who cannot live in peace. Now, I am not suggesting you become cold or unkind. I am not saying you should judge these people harshly or treat them with contempt. Remember, they too are struggling. They too are caught in their own patterns, their own unconscious habits. They are doing the best they know how with the understanding they have. But understanding their struggle does not mean you must sacrifice your own peace. Compassion does not require you to be a doormat. You can care about someone while also recognizing that their presence in your space is harmful to your well-being. Think of it this way. If someone had a contagious illness, you would not invite them into your home. Not because you hate them, but because you understand that protecting your health is necessary. The patterns I have described are also contagious, but they infect your psychological and spiritual health rather than your physical body. Your home is your temple, your sanctuary, the space where you can finally stop fighting and simply be. It must be protected, not with walls and locks, but with wisdom and discernment. You must learn to recognize what energies nourish life and what energies deplete it. This does not mean your home becomes a fortress of isolation. It means it becomes a garden, carefully tended, where only life-giving elements are invited in. A place where genuine connection can happen, where laughter is real rather than nervous, where silence is comfortable rather than awkward, where people can take off their masks because the pressure to perform has been lifted. When you keep these 5 types away from your home, something wonderful happens. The space begins to clear, like muddy water settling when left alone. The constant noise quiets. The tension releases. And in that clearing, you rediscover what it means to simply live. You find yourself breathing more deeply. Your shoulders drop. Your jaw unclenches. The constant vigilance relaxes because you are no longer having to manage other people's dysfunction. You are free to just be, to drink your tea, to watch the light change, to hear the birds, to exist without commentary or drama or performance. And here is the beautiful part. When your home becomes this kind of sanctuary, you become more available for genuine connection because you are no longer depleted by toxic interactions. You have more energy for real friendship. Because you are no longer surrounded by complainers, you can appreciate the people who show up with gratitude. Because you are no longer hosting performers, you can welcome those who are comfortable being ordinary. Your home becomes a place that reflects your values, your priorities, your understanding of what life is really about. It becomes a living statement that says, I choose peace over drama, presence over performance, acceptance over complaint, generosity over energy vampirism, appreciation over comparison. This is not about being perfect or having the ideal home. It is about recognizing that the energy you allow into your space matters. It shapes your consciousness. It affects your peace. It determines whether your home is a place of restoration or depletion. So be wise about who you invite in. Be discerning. Notice how you feel when certain people leave. Notice what remains in the air after their departure. Does it feel lighter or heavier, clearer or muddier, more peaceful or more agitated? Your home is not just a place. It is an atmosphere, a vibration, a quality of energy. And you are the guardian of